Elisa, can you hear us?
I sure can.
Okay, thank you. Is the chief joining us via Zoom?
No, he's actually got another meeting in Ward 7. If
Okay.
want to move on to come back to him, or I can text him and see where he is.
Okay, why don't you just text him real quick and let us know? Because we can wait a minute.
So Elise was saying the chief is out.
Oh, okay.
So she's just checking with him.
You're in the building?
I don't know. I don't think
She
she's.
said Ward 7.
Oh, yeah.
But the mutual aid agreement.
Yeah, but usually we have somebody come because people want to ask questions.
An answer. Might not be the same.
I mean, I could just make up the answers.
Okay, I'll just call it. So we'll just start with the resolution.
You're gonna call it to order.
Yeah.
Okay, good evening. It's 6:33. I'm calling this Laws and Rules Committee meeting to order. This is the first meeting in 2024 for the Laws and Rules Committee. I am Chair Alderwoman Hirsch. Present, we have Alderwoman Ward 1, Sarah Pasty, Alderwoman Terrell Mickens, Ward 5, Alderman Michael Tierney, Ward 2, Alderman Rennie Scott Childress, Ward 3, and Alderman Bob Dennison, Ward 6. I just want to say that we do not have public speaking at our committee meetings. We ask that the group remain quiet while we speak and deliberate. After motions are made, I will call on the alder people to speak. It's important that we don't speak over each other. It's hard to hear on Zoom when that happens. Okay. So the first item on the agenda is the intermunicipal police agreement between the town of Ulster and the city of Kingston. Chief Tinty is not available yet, so we will move that later in the meeting, and we will start with item number 2, which is the memorializing resolution for a ceasefire. I just want to say that I brought this motion forward. There was many people in our community that we're passionate about seeing this happen. This is something that has been taken up at multiple cities across the country. So I did not feel it's my place to not move this forward for a discussion. So that is where we are at. I understand it's a very complicated topic. I have a lot of empathy and compassion for anyone on both sides of the issue, and I just ask for everyone's respect to each other. And we have Alderman Drew Andrews from Ward 7 joining us as well. Okay, so this, the resolution that was brought forward is a draft. This is not something that the council has worked on as a body, a legislative body, and bringing it to the table for anyone to that would like to make amendments to this. I know that we've been receiving a lot of outpouring, a lot of emails from both sides. And even this morning, some people in opposition to the resolution as it stands even offered different ideas for amendments. So I'd like to make a motion just to enter into discussion.
I will not be seconding. Is that?
I'm not making a motion. I can't make a motion as chair.
Okay.
So I'm just asking if there's anyone that would like to make a motion that's on this committee that would like to enter into a discussion.
I will not be making a motion or seconding one. If I may I explain my reasoning?
Yes.
First, let me unequivocally state, we are all against the carnage in Gaza and Israel. We are all sickened by the violence, the killing, the raping, the destruction. We are all here for a peaceful resolution. Before we even consider any merits to the proposed resolution, however, the question is whether the Kingston Common Council should weigh in at all. To some of you, the answer is yes, but to the others, the answer is no. My concern is that this issue is dangerously divisive. The process of voting on this resolution will become increasingly adversarial if we did push it forward as it stands. We have already seen bitter acts of calling out others and taking sides and reducing an incredibly complex issue and reducing it to simple solutions. This is why I do not support bringing an unprecedented foreign policy resolution such as this one to a vote in the Common Council. If we did, the division, the rancor, the demagoguery would only get worse. I ask everyone here to consider your feelings in this moment. If you're feeling anger, anguish, hatred, disbelief, know that there are others in this room, in our neighborhoods, in our city, who have those very same feelings, but from a different vantage point than you. We cannot let this calling out culture fester in our city, I think. Instead, I hope we can work toward what the activist Loretta Ross refers to as call-in culture. Ross notes that call-out culture is the logical result of systems of domination, of control, such as white supremacy and patriarchy. She advocates instead calling folks in to develop new frameworks for going beyond the diagnosis of problems, to engage instead in new practices with each other. The aim, she says, is to gain clarity on a sense of belonging and purpose in a broader human rights movement. I believe developing the practice of calling in will allow us to think through this issue as members of the same community, as neighbors, friends, and family. To this end, I am working with the Kingston Interfaith Council and other faith leaders to convene an event. The calling in theme of it would be something like holding ourselves in community when terrible issues threaten to tear us apart. I invite everyone here to join in. If we cannot find peace among ourselves, how can we demand it elsewhere? Thank you.
Anyone else? Michael?
So I am not a member of the committee, so I cannot motion or second this resolution. However, I did bring several amendments to this resolution that I feel make it stronger. And I have to disagree with Majority Leader Childress. I think that this is completely relevant to the city of Kingston. I have heard each and every one of you at the table lament the lack of a western access of the passenger railway in the city of Kingston, the lack of access to public transportation in our community, the disgusting level of inequity in the conditions of the Kingston Housing Authority. These are all federally funded programs. Where is that money going? It's going to fascist regimes across the world to suppress anti-colonial movements. It's going to war. It's not going to life. And that's what we're here for. We are all elected to promote the well-being of the city of Kingston, and that cannot happen when over a half of our federal tax dollars go to the machine of war and death. And I'm sorry, this is not a religious matter that the Faith Council should really be involved with. This is a secular matter. These are secular governments at war, and it is one that we as a nation have taken a side on, and that side is destruction. And people are going to say, where's the condemnation of Hamas? I do, but the federal government isn't supplying them. The federal government is supplying one side of this conflict. And then for the other argument that we've never done this, we should have. And that was a conversation that happened last night in the Democratic Committee. It's never too late to start taking a stand on these things. Where would you have been if you could go back in time to 9/12? Wouldn't you say, this is not justice, this is vengeance? And look at what has brought us 20 years later: death, destruction, instability, hatred, divisiveness, fascism in our own country. All of these things happened because we did not take a stand then. We could take a stand then. Thank you. I get that this is sort of just a non-discussion discussion. But I appreciate the time to have some amendments that I think are important and make this resolution stronger, while also making it far more relevant to our community, as well as condemning fascism across the globe.
I would like to say something also. Making a decision as to whether or not to support the proposed ceasefire resolution has been very difficult for me, since I personally abhor violence and discrimination of any kind. I, like my fellow council members, have received numerous emails from residents from my ward, all of which were passionate, thoughtful, and heartfelt. As an individual, I know that I can take action by writing to my elected officials who are in a position to make things happen. However, as a representative of the residents of Ward 1, I'm obliged to act on their behalf, whether or not my action may or may not agree with my own personal views. I also feel obligated to take action that I think would be in the best interests of the city. As I thought about what to do in this case, I realized I'm not certain that the city of Kingston's passing a resolution would be more effective than if everyone in the city were to reach out to our elected officials on the federal level. In addition, because I've received so many contradictory emails, some asking me to vote yes and others asking me to vote no, I've come to believe that passing this resolution would not address the hurt that many of our residents and myself are feeling, and indeed might be harmful to some of our residents. Because this is not a situation in which the Common Council has real power to effect change, we do not set the federal budget, nor do we have the power to negotiate a ceasefire. I encourage our citizens to reach out directly to those people who have the power to effect the changes they would like to see. I have done so and will continue to do the same. Thank you.
Anybody else like to add anything?
I like to add something. I came here with the intention, nothing written, just kind of while I was out, just coming back, being a little sick. But this is so deeply contentious. And my friends that I have spoken to support a ceasefire. Many of my residents, and I'd say over hundreds of letters of residents within Kingston demands that we do something and we stand up for something when it comes to what's happening in this world. Many have said, kind of mind your business and kind of stay in space. I do feel that this is very, very, very hard for me, which it is for all of us. I'm not against anyone, and I am for life. I am for humanity. And I will stand for that until the day I die, because that's who I am as a person, and my track record stands that and also represents that as well. I do feel that we should possibly sit with councils. We should further look at what this resolution stating and possibly think about how we can begin to move a unified decision and resolution together. That's where I am right now. I do feel that this is something that we should converse, sit about.
We can all certainly agree to sit down at some point in the coming future. We think about whether there's something that we would be more comfortable with, that we feel like the whole community would be comfortable with. That's what I'm.
How many more people will be doing
But that's an unfair question. How many people here would feel hurt and feel discriminated, feel fear walking out from their houses into the streets of this city? That's what I'm concerned with. There are people here who are in deep pain because of this. And I don't feel like what you're saying is, I feel like it's almost making light of that. You're not taking recognition of what's going on here with us in our hearts.
I can understand that, and I can sympathize with that. And I really do empathize with the Israel side of the issue. But at the end of the day, it's not even about who's right and who's wrong. It's about our government supporting this. And that's the problem I have with this. It is our government who has told us time and time again, we don't have the money for that. We don't have the money for that. We don't have the money for that. We don't have the money to build a house. We don't have the money to put a new rail line on the west side of the Hudson River. We can't expand the bus service to Elmville. It's gonna take 2 hours for the bus to go to Saugerties. That's the kind of hurt that people deal with every single day in this community. And that's the federal government turning its back on us to be a merchant of death across the world.
I'm no fan of the military apparatus of our country.
And that's
But
all
we're also missing that the federal government does in fact provide a lot of money to the city as it is. They could provide more, sure. And that's something to talk about when we have specific projects that we want to advocate for. That's fine.
All right. So it looks like we don't have a motion to move forward. So this is where it ends as far as this. I hope that we can have some community engagement, some forums for information and, learning for best understand and help each, everyone out in the community. I urge our community to be respectful, continue being respectful of each other. What the city does control is human rights violations within our city, and it is under our purview to make sure that everyone in our city is treated fairly and that we do not see any racism, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism that will not be tolerated in our community. And I cannot stress that enough because that is something that we can control. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I thank everyone for being here. And so thank you. I see Chief Tinty.
Yes,
Has
my
there-
apologies. It was
No
a
problem.
meeting.
You're all welcome to stay.
People can hear you better.
Very good, thank you.
So Chief, you're here to speak on the yearly intermunicipal agreement between the town of Ulster and the city of Kingston. So we have a couple new members.
Great. Absolutely, yeah. So in the past few years, over the past few years, we've enjoyed a very good partnership with town of Ulster. Effectively surrounds us on three sides, and they have, we share resources. Essentially, that this formalizes it beyond what the municipal law allows. It does allow us to share personnel and equipment. Right now, essentially, it is a special investigations unit with personnel there, and as well as our emergency services unit. We have, I think, both benefit, town of Ulster and the city of Kingston both benefited. I think the agreement that I scanned and sent to you already has a signature. The deputy supervisor out there, and we're just waiting for confirmation on the council here, and to move forward to add another year to that. I do ask if it's possible, and I don't even know if it is, but do we possibly make it a 2-year agreement? Is that something that can change? If not, it's something just simplifies things, and because of, I anticipate this will hopefully continue forever, so.
Now that the other chief has signed it, we can do whatever we want.
We usually have to have everything posted 24 hours in advance, and it says 1 year, but we are having a second laws and rules meeting next Tuesday night. So if you want to do that, if the committee feels like that's something you want to approve,
I
or
think we can amend.
we can amend, okay.
Wouldn't it have to go back to the town of Ulster as well? I guess if they're on board.
Yeah, I believe they are. I can certainly confirm that tomorrow. Yeah. I mean, at any point, the agreement does allow either party to terminate at any point, so that's not an issue. That's in the actual agreement.
Let's just clarify. So I think I know the answer. What would be the advantage of extending it to 2 years instead
I
of?
would have to come from. That's really it. That's what it is. If not, then make it my yearly visit.
How long has it been in place? That is,
I believe that this will be year 4.
so in each of the 4 years, it's been annual. So
Yes.
this would be the first one that
That's
was
right.
for 2 years.
Okay, so Brittany has another question,
There
so
are
let's,
no-
let.
There are no
let's call him.
changes in this from the previous years.
There's no exchange of money. There's no, it really is an agreement to share resources.
Sorry, is that it? Answer your
That
question?
was exactly the
Okay,
same question I
Michael?
was going to ask.
So with the shared service agreement, do you find in your experience that are Kingston police officers going to town of Ulster more or the other way around? Or is it pretty 50-50
I would-
split?
I would say that we benefit more from the agreement,
All right.
but I don't want that out there.
Don't worry.
No, realistically, they are providing us a full-time detective for a special investigations unit. We do our fair share of investigations out of town of Ulster because they're connected to incidents within the city of Kingston. But I can say with confidence that the majority of the time, their officers are spending more time in the city of Kingston. So,
Thank you.
I just have a question. Does this cover like the SWAT intermunicipal or is that a
it
separate?
is, no, emergency, yeah, emergency services, which is SWAT,
Okay,
and also the special investigations.
okay. All right, so Rennie, you're saying we can amend?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
All right, so do you want to make a
I
motion?
amend to lengthen the article, the time of agreement from 1 year to 2.
And I second that.
Subject to approval of the town council.
Yes.
Yeah, as what he
Subject to.
said.
Okay. So I have a motion on the table to amend this agreement to a tier. Can I call for a vote? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, so now we'll move to enter in discussion on this agreement.
I
Any,
move that we adopt the resolution.
okay,
As
Okay.
amended.
okay. All right, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, let's just put a mark on here that this is. um,
So this will be on the agenda for the Tuesday meeting.
No, we just voted.
Oh, we just voted.
Yeah, we
Okay,
just
so
voted.
this-
This isn't necessary.
This is pre-written, so I'm just trying to. figure out-
Intermunicipal stuff needs an agreement.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Highway.
We're covered by emergency matters, so if there is a situation where we call for help, everyone's coming, we've had people from all over the county. This just simplifies it because this is really a non-emergency situation where we're sharing resources.
All right, so I didn't read this first, I'm sorry. So renewal of the intermunicipal agreement between the town of Ulster and the city of Kingston to be in place for 2 years.
And we add the amendment of, subject to the approval of.
I thought he was joking.
I can get a confirmation via email tomorrow.
Okay, all right.
I guess your counterpart has to do the same thing.
Yeah. I imagine that, okay, on that part, so the mayor signs it, I believe, on our side, and the town supervisor on their side. So, okay. Once it passes.
Great.
And for the record, I don't have an issue coming year to year. I feel welcome here, so trust me, that's okay.
You will bring back your budget. I mean, that's more fun.
There, I don't know about feeling welcome sometimes when you look at the money, but yeah, absolutely, thank you.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And my apologies for being a little late. Thanks again. Yeah, absolutely. Please, thank you. Good job, no, good job. Thank you.
President Schott was going to come to discuss the next item. I don't see her here yet. Regarding a change in the name of one of the committees, so we'll just wait to see if she comes. All right, so the next item on the agenda is item number 4. This is something I put in, raising the civil penalties under chapter 373-12. And this is regarding City of Kingston trees. There is, so there's currently a penalty of $250 within the city code. And that is woefully low. It is not preventing anyone from taking down trees. Saw John Tui was here, but he must have stepped out. So according to Sue Cahill, who is on the tree commission, runs the tree commission out of the planning department, she said at a minimum to plant a new tree in the city of Kingston is $1,000 to obtain the tree and put in all of the infrastructure to keep it watered. John Tui said that administratively to levy a fine on someone, which has to go through corporation counsel to take into account their time and resources, that is $500. So Sue thought at a minimum, like a $750 fine So, hey, John. We're just discussing the trees.
Oh, okay. We're here for
Yeah.
parking, but-
Okay, and I'm just saying, you had said administratively like $500 for the city to, if we were to enforce through corporation council.
Yeah, I mentioned, typically the penalties would be tied to,
Right.
some calculation of the administrative effort cost associated with enforcing the city code. So,
Right,
$250, you start with hourly rates, it's not,
right.
it's not a lot of money.
Yeah, and so Sue Cahill said that like it's about $1,000 a tree after obtaining the tree, labor, the infrastructure for watering. I believe we put in about 38 new trees now. So it's up to us to decide what, we want to see would be a penalty.
But doesn't it cost like $1,000 to cut down a tree?
To a private.
Well, what size?
Well, but that's what, I mean,
It's
we're
any-
talking, we're talking about somebody.
Somebody that like, say they're on the city right away, or, it has happened.
This is
Large.
large, short tree.
Yeah, yeah.
Cutting trees down, and saying,
Yeah, this is for if someone, yeah, private, yeah, was city tree, on city property, yeah. If it's a city tree, it's on city property.
Does this happen with frequency?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
And I think even in Ward One, I've seen it happen when new development is going in. There'll be sometimes clear cutting on a place, when trees are going in, so you need a permit, probably to cut down a tree,
mhm,
right?
yes,
But if somebody cuts it down without a permit indiscriminately, then that's a problem.
yes,
So that's what we're talking about,
yeah, like in the city right away, or on city property.
on city property.
So I would be in favor of going with 1250. If that's, I don't know how other municipalities do it, but, that would be more than the price of, somebody cutting down a tree themselves or hiring another.
Right, right, yeah, if you're hiring an outside firm and it's like, say, 1,500, you just only have to add another 250 and, take the tree down,
Yeah.
it's not a deterrent.
Right.
To further sort of question, I guess then, so when they get that penalty, are they required to replant the tree, or is this still part of the cost of just doing business to development? Like, I'm just gonna pay the fine, there's gonna be no tree there anymore.
Yeah, I believe there's some language about putting a new tree in.
Well, then the city would put the new tree in.
With the money
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Rennie has an offer on the table. Feels sort of like a poker game. I don't know.
So is this tree a healthy tree or is it?
It's just any tree.
Any trees?
Yeah, I mean, if the tree is not a healthy tree and is in danger, then the city can take it down themselves, so,
And it's the city that has to do it because
Yeah.
it's the city's property.
yeah.
Nobody can empower themselves to
30
do
trees a year.
Dead dying and dangerous trees.
I'm sorry?
Dead dying and dangerous trees.
Oh, okay.
The idea being it falls on somebody.
Right, and the city.
That's about.
So Rennie's put in for $12.50.
Vote to turn.
Yeah. Sorry, John, hold on, John.
I didn't print it out, but I just want to make you aware, there is a section in the code that calls for, it might not be the exact scenario, or designed for the exact scenario we're talking about, but there is a section in that, there's a provision in that section of code that calls for a penalty. When the city has to cut down a tree, when the whole property owner's been advised to cut it down, there's a percentage that's added on, so I don't know if you wanted to look at that route either.
Okay, yeah, we were just looking at this one. That's what I had put in. Okay, we could look at that one again in a minute. Okay. All right, does everyone want?
So you have a motion to increase it to 1,500, is that correct?
From $250 to,
1,500.
well, right, no, proposed
$12.50.
I'm easy.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to raise the penalty for removal of a city tree from $250 to $1,250. Motion,
You can.
second, okay, all in favor?
You can.
Bring it
Not on
up.
the committee.
Wait,
You just take a minute.
I just told you.
Yeah, but we're scrubs, we're not.
Not on the.
Oh, yeah, sorry. All right, can I get a motion? A motion.
Oh, forget it.
Sorry.
Everybody's supposed to make a motion
Yeah.
or no?
Motion.
Motion,
I made
okay.
the motion and Bob seconded.
Goes to Costa Rica, he's trying to overthrow the system.
Oh, fresh. I'm ready to go.
I think you should give it to Mike.
No, because I was going through each one, so I'm sure everybody's ready.
You can take your time, there's other sides, you can knock yourself out, you can spend no money. Okay.
Asking John about the donuts and beets and all that, that's excruciating.
Power bills are my favorites. Everything on toast.
And water delivery.
Water delivery.
You want to give me a stack of, start on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just send me some bills, right?
And paper.
Paper.
For a $62 bill.
Right.
I do like it. I guess it makes sense, but. Because
You have to, you already have to. Just a sec.
No, this is different.
This is difficult.
This is the resolution.
Okay, all right, so then under old business, we have the easement from Ted Kellogg. We only received, the committee only received the actual documents today, so this will have to be voted on next Tuesday, because we have a 48-hour rule also that we shouldn't vote on things unless we've had them we've seen them for 48 hours.
Okay.
Sure.
Just a friendly discussion, and I'm glad John's here before he wakes up. We're gonna transfer these easements for $10, right? Each. Do we need an appraisal? Do we need we're selling city property? And these easements.
Okay, I saw the email come through, but I didn't have a chance to read it. So the easements would cover,
There's the two houses that are on city streets,
okay,
okay? One on Delaware and one on Court Street. They're intrusive. They are on city property.
houses?
Portions of them. Somebody built like a porch
Years ago.
Okay,
in the city right away. So they've requested an easement for their house that's in the city right away, which is fine. I mean, encroachments are not, they happen frequently all over the place on the highway system. My only concern is fair market value. I mean, we're gonna transfer these for $10. Is that okay? Is Barbara okay with that? Should we have an appraisal, and should the price be reflective of the value of the parcel that we're transferring?
Transferring a parcel?
Well, it's an easement.
No,
It's a
public
easement.
So
property.
we're giving somebody
Right,
rights
right, I understand.
forever,
So the-
permanent easement.
So the appraisal would be on that
Just on that
easement.
Right,
That's
well,
not
yeah.
transferred, okay.
Right, which is a slice of
No, I
property.
understand.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, and if we don't need to have that, I'm okay with that, but I think we need to ask the question of the attorney, do we have to have an appraisal of the value of that easement before we sell it?
Our corporation council drew these up, the
Okay.
agreements up,
Okay, so I
so,
still have my question.
yeah, that's not, I don't believe that that's not typically how we do it. It's not like really a sale of land, so.
But it is,
But it's a transfer of land.
we're giving our right to
No,
land
an
in this property,
easement, no, an easement will allow them ingress, egress, it doesn't
and to
necessarily.
do stuff they want to it. Really, when you read the document,
Yeah.
they can, they hold it.
It's theirs that they're responsible for it. and-
So I will check with Barbara
Yeah,
on that,
I just
yes,
want
I
to
will
check with
check.
Barbara, if she's okay with that price transfer, then I'm okay. But if-
And how old are these homes?
Well, they're,
Yeah.
They've been
some,
there for
they build
decades.
in, it happens all the time, people build their houses in a right of way. And,
And they don't know it's a right
some
of way.
places, they make you take the house down, But in many cases, you can buy the property or they can give you an easement or you make a deal. Because taking the house down is a bad idea.
Michael has a question.
So whether or not we have to, I think we should do an appraisal for any sale of public property or easement of public property. My question was, did this originally come from the property owner? Or is this something that the city building department brought to the attention?
No, the property owners brought it.
So
It's
it
part of
has-
the packet.
They're trying
So
to-
it has value to the property owner.
Mhm.
So yes, I think it should be appraised. And this is a cost benefit to them. And they should have to pay the city a fair market value.
Well, we should ask the question.
It's,
I mean, one of them's a sliver of easement that really is,
I mean.
Yeah, what is the value? Maybe it's $500 or
maybe
$200.
it's maybe it's better. Could be 10, who knows? But
Right.
We should know.
We're a hot market.
It sounds like.
You just live here, you can put an Airbnb on that, or you can do
The question maybe is, what is the true marketability of those easements? Is there a fair market value?
Right.
Because it isn't limited use to
Anything.
potential, one property owner in some case, so.
And it's not.
That is a courthouse question.
Yeah, I mean, they're little slivers, it may be worth nothing, it would be worth $10, but I think an expert should
Right.
tell me it's worth $10.
yeah, it's like 5 feet from a sidewalk. Yeah, it's, yeah, okay.
So,
All right, so I will get that question answered and we will,
so we're
come back to
taking
that
this
on,
until Tuesday.
yeah, on
Okay.
Tuesday. And then the second easement issue, which actually became a license
Right.
for the Green Ladies, that is not coming back to us for an approval because that is something then that is under the mayor's purview, administrative. So the city has the right to grant licenses, so.
And it's still being
We set a
discussed,
fee.
it's still being discussed at the planning board.
It's the additional parking spaces.
Yeah,
Right, it's still being discussed, and in fact, I attended or watched the meeting last night, and because of the snowstorm, she couldn't make it, and so it's been tabled until the next planning board meeting.
and then we get to local law 8 of 2023, amending section 390 of our city code under immobilization and impounding of vehicles. So this had come out of laws and rules already, went to the floor, and Michael asked that it be sent back. So the language that was changing just referred to whether, so in the original code, the way it was written, that the vehicles, the immobilization of vehicles against which 3 or more parking summonses have been issued. So it wasn't that the person had 3 or more parking summonses, it was that the vehicle did, according to the VIN number. So we were changing it so that the summonses followed the owner, not, or the person, not the vehicle.
Yes.
So we hadn't changed how many tickets or, before a car is impounded, but I think that was the issue that.
That
I'm
is
sorry.
my,
I'm sorry.
I support this law. I think it's a great idea. People shouldn't be buying a car and getting it impounded. But I just think the threshold should run this too.
I thought that was the issue, that the threshold.
That was why. we
Well, that
sent
is
it
why
back.
he
That was
sent it
the original reason
so
why this
the-
came up in the first place.
So the impounding or the fine would follow the person
Correct,
and not the vehicle?
correct.
So if I own 3 cars and I have a ticket per car, then I would be subject to impoundment on which car?
Any car you owned, which could be those 3.
The one that gets the third ticket.
Yeah, with that,
John oversees parking, so.
yeah, I mean, and Elijah's here, he's one of our people on the ground here. So for an example, let's just talk about the issue with the current law right now. The issue with the current law is, it's multiple, but, one potential unintended consequence could be, if someone purchases a vehicle from another individual, they could potentially have no tickets outstanding, and if the original owner of that vehicle had tickets on that vehicle, the new owner could be unwittingly have their car immobilized right? We've also noticed now on the other issue is that under the current law is that, there's a number of individuals throughout the city who've become very adept at navigating city code and have a tremendous amount of tickets outstanding across many vehicles. And they're very proficient at changing vehicles, changing plates, and where, the vehicle at the time may only have 1 or 2 tickets, but there could be 10, 15, 20 tickets outstanding by the registered owner. And, I think of, when we think of, the vast majority of City of Kingston residents and those who do receive parking tickets in the City of Kingston are responsible. They pay their ticket or they appeal their ticket. Our attorneys get back to them in fashionable time. And I don't think it's fair to those who are responsible to have a loophole in the current legislation that allows those who are savvy enough to basically avoid paying tickets and without consequence. In a way that wasn't intended, I believe, under the original legislation. And then once again, it's not the vehicle that's breaking the law, it's the individual, the owner of the vehicle. I wasn't here when the original legislation was put in place, but, this issue's been there for a little while. But I think it finally came to a point where we've seen enough instances where we thought it was time to bring it to the common council's attention.
So all I would like to see is just the language changed, largely irrelevant to that change of just from 3 or more to either 4 or 5.
So I'll call for a motion to discuss changing.
Can I ask John?
Yeah.
Do you have a concern with that change?
No, I don't. Quite frankly, we looked at, our ticketing, and typically the vast majority of vehicles that are immobilized have more than 3 tickets outstanding anyway. We're 5, 6, 7 tickets. So, increasing that to say 4 or even 5 wouldn't necessarily be an issue for us. In practice, I know the legislation is there for 3. If we try to work with people, we're not out there, trying to immobilize vehicles the first chance we get. Quite frankly, it's, for our business, for the City of Kingston here, it's, we prefer we pay their tickets and we try to work with them. So, we're not jumping on a 3rd ticket generally. So, yeah, I don't see an issue with going to 5.
There's also a piece that Barbara Graves Pollard discussed on the back end here administratively about appealing tickets that needed to be worked out. So she felt like this could wait and get everything lined up.
I remember her mentioning her thoughts.
She hasn't spoken with me about that. I will mention though, on the flip side too, is that, in addition to our law, DMV also has a scofflaw system in place that is it, right? So, the vehicle might not be immobilized by us, but DMV may scofflaw that vehicle anyway. And they would have to come in and pay the ticket. So, and that would hit before they might even be immobilized. So.
Right.
That's another fail safe to, ensure cities are receiving funds. But once again, the current legislation, that can be circumvented.
I think the current legislation matches a little bit of the DMV because the DMV scoff law is anything over 3 tickets before they can have their registration suspended.
That's tied to VIN, DMVs?
DMV is tied to the
Plate.
So I guess, do we have to make an amendment? Is that what we're doing, or?
If we want to leave it at 3, then we don't make an amendment. If we want to change that, then we would make an amendment.
Oh, well, then I move that we amend the number to be more than 3.
Oh, fine.
If it's
John's
more than
suggested
3.
5, yeah. I think that's reasonable.
I think so, too.
Ample time to get their act together.
Absolutely.
And then just to add to this, just so everyone, understands our process as well. Currently, we mail 4 notices to those who receive tickets. First notice is mailed 30 days after the ticket was issued. 30 days later, second notice is issued, mailed. 30 days after that, third notice is mailed. A final notice is mailed 30 days after that. So, the owners of these vehicles were receiving
In the know.
tickets are getting quite a bit of notice. I think that coupled with, Alderman Tierney's suggestion of moving to 5 really is, very fair to give anyone who receives a ticket adequate time to resolve those things. So to avoid immobilization.
Yeah, if you get immobilized with 5 tickets, you're gonna have a really hefty lift to get all that.
Yeah, and there's also, there's also an appeal process. So if someone feels like they were unjustly ticketed, they can appeal. Court counsel reviews those. There is a whole process while, appeals being considered. So, we have a lot of avenues for, those who receive tickets to receive their day in court. I guess.
Okay, all right, so we have a motion by Rennie Scott Childress. Second. Okay. All right, so this would be an amendment to let's see, local law, section 39.80A, to read as follows: the chief of police, controller, or designee hereby is authorized to provide for the immobilization of vehicles against which registered to a person against whom 5 or more parking summonses have been issued if 2 or more of such summonses have not been answered within 45 days of the appearance date or dates shown on such summonses. Call for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Why they say, it's a proverb that takes a counsel.
Hi, Jeannie.
Here's this.
Hi, Jeannie.
Resident Street.
Yeah, I don't guess we need one.
Those are great.
Oh. I signed your name. The lines are so confusing. Oh, okay. Make a motion. Yeah.
Yes, that's the.
That's 2 things, redesign of the form and, community reports on separate sheets.
Rennie, I forgot to ask, it's not on the agenda, but the apprenticeship language, that didn't,
Every time they don't. We get fixed.
Mike Hanson.
Every time they are, as a sludge mask.
Okay.
Maybe social recovery.
Okay,
So we'll just let it drop off for now.
okay, all right, I thought the plan was that we were submitting what we discussed in November.
Well, no, because, Carl is gone.
Okay,
That's an expense.
okay,
And I put a note clear.
Clear language. There were options that make sure language.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially thinking about. how we might be able to-
So where's the other side to that? Where's the regular side?
Okay.
Is that
all right.
I don't know.
Madam President is here. You are the only,
Oh,
you're the last agenda.
Oh,
I think it's perfect.
We should be home by now.
Did you bring treats, snacks?
Yeah, thank you. This should be fairly simple. It's just something I neglected to do when I was changing the council roles, even though I had planned on changing the committee. One of our committees is community development, and I would like to change it to community development and housing. Based on our community needs, what the council cares about, what the community cares about and needs. I think it is imperative that we have a committee that discusses housing on a regular basis versus here and there on other committees. So we need to beat our rules. And like I said, when I redid it, I just neglected to change the name. I will be coming to community development to discuss it a little bit more in detail on what it's going to look like. So my request today is just to amend the council rules to change it to community development and housing.
All right, and this needs a community report for the rules.
Yes.
Okay.
So it would be a resolution to amend the council rules to community development, to change the name from community development to community development and housing.
Any question? Would then the purview of that committee is something that would be decided in a different?
Yeah, I'll come and do an update.
So, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so can I get a motion to change the name of community development to community development and housing?
I'll move.
Sarah, Bob?
What type of, come talk to that committee?
Yeah, I already talked to the mayor. He liked the idea, it's just months ago, and then I have talked to Bartek. He'll be doing regular addresses.
Good.
Okay.
The committee won't start this month, but in February, we'll start. So we do have a plan, and like I said, I'll come talk about it next week. We're trying to do a special housing committee, but that was right before COVID, and it just didn't work. And I think, listen to the community and just knowing what we know, it's too important to not make it its own committee.
So I fully support that, and I guess I can ask these questions in community development, but do you envision this more as like a working group towards a specific like local law? Is the goal to build a city on housing development?
Well, I think part of it is to make sure that we're getting regular updates from the housing department. And so not only the committee, but also because our meetings are more public than anything else. So the public is also getting those updates on the programs that we offer. It's also to hear from the housing groups that already exist, I can't remember all the names of it.
The task force.
The housing task force. Yeah, exactly. And seeing what their recommendations could be that we could then implement.
Okay.
Is my kind of loose idea. But
Okay.
I don't have anything that really, this is what it has to look like. I'm hoping that the committee will help guide that.
I think it's a good idea because there's so many groups in task force that it sometimes feels siloed. So if it's a way that it can all come in, everybody is up to date and can carry out those missions.
Right, and also, like I said, I like the idea of our meetings being public, and then so therefore the public is understanding of what's going on.
So any more questions or call for a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Thank you. And if you have suggestions,
There you
obviously before the update, but then as we go forward, I'm not
Make sure that you is in there.
leading it in one way.
We don't want community development and closing.
There is a you in there.
Opposing? I think that.
Did I spell that wrong?
No.
Solid waste permit, we need that.
No problems?
Never been a problem.
Why is it they're always telling me Ward 2?
Because they switched.
Because we got it wrong.
Because it's wrong.
Because Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, you're Ward 2. Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, it's one.
So who do we notify to make that change so that is that something Lisa can,
What do you mean?
that the
Oh,
Earl is
that-
listed as Ward 2?
Yeah,
It's
the
okay,
clerk's,
I will be changing.
yeah, the clerk's office.
It's spelled my name.
Does anybody
wrong, Charlie,
have
email address.
Anything else before we call for adjournment? All good?
All good.
Get a motion?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thanks for coming, Deanie.
So, next time, but briefly with them.
Good night.